All right. So today we're going to look at capitalism and free enterprise. This should be the last day of my quarantine, so I should be back on Tuesday. Um, what we're going to have to do when I get back is we have one more PowerPoint to cover for this unit. We'll cover that when I get back. And then unfortunately, we're going to have to push the test back to after spring break. But we're looking at probably having the test maybe that Thursday, the week we come back after Thanksgiving break. I don't remember if I said spring break or not. Thanksgiving break. That way we can kind of go back over a lot of this stuff again. Those first kind of 3 days, get you the test review and everything. And then after that, we only have the 2 weeks left, one of those weeks being finals week. So one more thing to cover after this, and then we'll kind of go into Thanksgiving break, and then we'll have our test when we come back, just so we can kind of go over some more stuff, kind of go over all this again, make sure y'all understand it, since it's been a little bit different with me being in quarantine and out the past 2 weeks. So most of y'all know a lot about capitalism already. It's kind of what we have here in the United States. Basically, where people, we own labor, we can own property, equipment, other resources to make money. Basically, using the resources that you have, the money that you have, your intelligence, your work ethic, anything like that, and finding ways to make a profit, based on those skills and resources that we have. Some of the characteristics of capitalism and free enterprise economies, again, a lot of this stuff y'all already kind of know. Economic freedom, voluntary exchange, private property is a big one, and then that whole idea of profit motive. So, as y'all know, here in the United States, we do have lots of economic freedom. Basically, where you are free to choose, what job you want, like where you want to work, when you want to work. We haven't really talked about it a lot, but sole proprietorships, basically small businesses, working for yourself. You're not tied to one job forever. You have the freedom and mobility to move to different jobs, work your way up in society, become wealthier or obtain more wealth as you work harder. Different than what we look back a while ago dealing with communism, or in some places when you're dealing with it's not super popular anymore, like the caste system, where you're kind of stuck in your level and there's no way to really get out of that level of society, where you are. If you're at the top or the bottom, you can't just work harder and work your way up. Here in economic freedom, businesses are free to choose where they want or who they want to work with them. They say you go for an interview. When you go for that interview, you don't have to take that job. Okay, the business doesn't have to hire you. Basically, as long as they're following the law and there's no sorts of discrimination or things like that taking place, both the business and the employee has the choice of, do they want to work here? Do they not want to work here? How much do you want to get paid? If you're unhappy with what you're getting paid, you can always move to another job. You can ask for a raise. All those sorts of things that you guys kind of understand. Again, looking back on when we looked at market economies, the big thing with market economies is voluntary exchange. Basically, picking and choosing who you want to work with, what you want to sell. This whole idea of doing what's best for you kind of feeds into this idea. What's best for the business might not be best for you as the employee, and vice versa. It might be better for you to move to a different job, better time. Maybe you want more time with your family, so it's less hours, or you want to get paid more, whatever it might be. All these things are based on the voluntary exchange, the idea that as people, we can pick and choose where we want to work, who we want to work for. Businesses can choose what they want to make, who they want to work with. Do they want to hire you? Do they not? What do they want to pay you? It's all based on that individual choice and doing what's best for you. Private property is a big one. You have the right, again, within the legal realm to do what you want with your property. Basically, obtaining property and being able to hold property is that motivation, that incentive that drive people to work hard, save money, invest their money where they think, where they see fit. Kind of the idea that you can get ahead in life, that you can start from living in poverty and by the end of your life be out of poverty, or work your way up to middle class or wherever you might want to be, become rich. All these ideas are basically part of capitalism, and that's what's made capitalism so successful across the world. And it's one of the leading ways, in fact, probably the number one way that people can get out of poverty is that idea of capitalism and the fact that you can do whatever you want. Like, you can make whatever you want of yourself. Think about here in the United States, you have all the advantages in the world. We have education, college. You can basically make your life whatever you want it to be. And that's not something that everyone has across the world. Here in the United States, we're very blessed to have all those opportunities to do what you want to do and become successful. Now, does that mean that everybody is going to be successful? No, because we still go off that idea of individual choice, and the choices you make are going to determine whether you're successful or not. But everybody has the opportunity, and that's the idea of capitalism, is that everyone has the opportunity to be successful. Not that everybody will be successful or is guaranteed success. That's a big thing to understand, is that you're not guaranteed success under capitalism. You're guaranteed the opportunity. Not everybody is born with the same set of circumstances, which obviously that does dictate a lot on how successful you could be, but it's not the only thing. There's thousands and thousands of stories of people that were born into poverty and have become very, very successful here in the United States. It's one of the main reasons why so many people want to, immigrate or move to the United States, for that opportunity to better their life, because we have that here. There's thousands of people that were born with the best circumstances ever and never did anything with it. It's all about those choices you make. It goes all the way back to the beginning of class when we talk about individual choice and deciding what's best for you. Okay, profit motive, another big thing. You can risk what you already own to make even more money. We've talked about investments. That's basically profit motive. The reason people invest money is to grow their wealth. Is it a risk? Yes. It's not perfect. You're not always going to be successful. In fact, if you look at a lot of entrepreneurs out there, most of them failed several times before they actually became what they are today. But it's that chance, that opportunity that you have that allows you to chase that profit motive. It doesn't mean it's going to be successful, that everyone will be successful, but it's the idea. Okay. It's that force that drives people to want to make more money or be successful. Okay. And again, when you're dealing with a business, the whole goal is to be successful and make money. As much as we don't necessarily want to make everything about money, in the business sense, it kind of is. The only way your business stays afloat is if you make money and you have a profit. If not, you're not going to be in business very long. So that profit motive, the idea, the chance to become wealthier, the chance to grow your wealth and, move up in society. Okay, so Entrepreneurs are very, very important to the economy. One of the reasons the United States has had, the world's largest economy for a long time is because we give entrepreneurs that chance, and we need entrepreneurs. As much as some people don't like the 1%, the ultra wealthy people in our society, we have to have them. They're the people that make checks, or cut checks. They're the ones that provide resources, bring equipment together. They make a profit, but they also pay people. You can argue all day long how much should they pay people, but they create jobs. All these entrepreneurs create jobs in our economy, and they basically come up with new ideas and new products that make us all better. So there's a lot of talk always of, well, should we, tax them more, take more of their money, maybe. But at the same time, you have to have those wealthier people in society, because when you work a job, that wealthy person is the one that signs the check and pays you. So we need entrepreneurs to keep growing. We always need new entrepreneurs, come up with new things to better society. Let's think about, I know we're all tired of it, but COVID and these vaccines. You'd be a fool to think these pharmaceutical companies are just making a vaccine to better humanity. That's part of the reason, but they also know that as they make this vaccine, there's a lot of people that are going to want to buy it, and they're looking at those government contracts that they can get to, if like the U.S. talking about purchasing 300 million vaccines. Those companies aren't putting all that money into developing this vaccine in order to give it away for free. Okay, at least not in today's society. They want to make a profit, and the reason they're going to invest and put all that money into the research is so they can sell that vaccine later on. All right, the role of the consumer. Consumers, again, people that buy things. Our choices decide what gets bought. We've kind of already talked about this way back in the beginning, but things that we like, things that we want to continue to buy, that's what drives our economy. That's what lets them know this is what we like, this is what we don't like. We want you to keep making more of this product or things like this product. And again, consumers have a major role in the economy. That idea of consumer sovereignty, that freedom to pick and choose what we want and let them know this is what we like and this is what we don't like. And then the biggest argument always comes in as what is the government's role? What should the government do? So the government needs to enforce laws. Their biggest goal in this should be to protect the consumer from things such as false advertising, unclean foods or unsafe medicines, pollution, things like that. Okay. Also protect against discrimination in the workforce. Okay. Enforce contracts. If you go into contract with somebody and they break that contract, you can have lawyers, you can go to court. You can be protected if someone tries to breach a contract. Okay. That's the government's role. That's what they should do. Another thing is provide services. Think about things such as schools. The government provides that. Okay, we do have private schools, but for the most part, education is done through public funding. Okay, where everybody has the opportunity to go, but that is paid for by the government. National defense, the Army. Okay, that's got to be paid for. We don't have people out there hiring private armies to protect them. Welfare, things like that. So providing services that private businesses don't. That's the role of the government as well. Hey, the government's also a consumer. We've talked about this with government spending. The government buys things
that lead to basically providing those services for consumers. Okay. And then the regulator. Government decides and makes the rules for businesses to follow. This kind of goes into that protector factor. So they have to set rules, but they also have to enforce those rules and make sure that everyone's following those rules. Okay, so mixed economy. Okay, this is what we truly have. We have kind of a modified free enterprise economy because our government does play a huge role in the economy. Now, people argue all day long, well, how much? Okay, and that's always the big argument, especially between Republicans and Democrats. How much government should be involved? What is the government's true role in this economy? Okay, because we do have that government intervention, like we talked about before, we're not entirely a true free market economy. We have this modified free enterprise system because we do have the government to step in and take care of consumers. In a true capitalistic society, free market, we would have really minimal government involvement, and that can basically come back to later on hurting the consumer. And that's why we need that government to play the role. Now, how much is always, a big argument, but there has to be some sort of government involvement in order to protect the consumers from, not being taken care of, basically. So that kind of wraps up capitalism. Again, a lot of this stuff you guys already know. We've talked about it a lot. Just wanted to cover it one more time. So the rest of the week, I should be back, at least tomorrow. I will be out Thursday and Friday for golf tournaments, but we'll cover the last thing that we need to, and then we're going to have our test after Thanksgiving. That way, it'll give us some time to kind of go back over all this stuff that's going to be on the test. In case you have any questions, since this last couple weeks have been a little bit different, I want to just give y'all a test Thursday or Friday without me having the opportunity to answer questions for y'all. If you had any questions, in class.